welcome to another DragonLance Saga review episode. It's been a while. Ooh. It is Lenara's Guildember the 5th. My name is Adam, and today I'm going to give you my review of The Silver Stair by Jean Rabe. I'd like to take a moment and thank the DL Saga members and invite you to consider becoming a member by visiting the link in the description below. You can even pick up DragonLance gaming materials using my affiliate links. Now, this is my perspective only. If yours differs, I welcome to hear it. Put it in the live chat if you're joining live. And if you're going to watch this after the fact, that's okay too. Leave a comment and I'll read it, respond, as will the rest of the community. So let us know what you think. All right. These are a little bit different because I don't have a pre-written review. It's just me reflecting on the story at large and sharing it in a brief synopsis style. So that being said, let's dive in. The focus of this novel overwhelmingly is actually about the Silver Stair and not about the Citadel of Light. So the context around this story is Goldmoon coming over to Schallsea and dealing with the locals as she discovers the Silver Stair and decides this is where she wants to create the Citadel of Light, which is, of course, where in the 5th Age, she is training mystics from all around Krynn. I mean, literally, I think it's all around Ansalon, but we'll just say Krynn for the sake of it. If you come into this expecting to get like a story specifically about Goldmoon, you're going to be disappointed because while she plays a role in it, she is not the center figure. The center figure is a Silvenesty elf named Gare. Now, this character originally came into this story as a very good, well-intentioned devotee of Goldmoon, and throughout the course of the story is really interested in figuring out how to communicate with the dead. Goldmoon has been communicating with Riverwind since he had died already in the Chaos, or after the Chaos War, dealing with Malastrix's egg and, you know, their daughter. So she's been speaking with Riverwind's spirit. I think, you know, at this time in the 5th Age, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman hadn't been brought back in by Wizards of the Coast to create the War of Souls. And so it was not known or even conceived of that at the time, Takhisis was holding all of the souls to sort of go around and steal magic to bring her power back after having stolen the world away after the Chaos War from the other gods. So the idea of having an afterlife has wholly different context in this story, specifically because it's before the War of Souls when spirits were said not to have been able to leave Krynn. Now they're still supposedly being able to leave, but some stick around for one reason or another, like in every haunted house story or whatever, right? So I find that context interesting because you could easily still fit this story inside of the understanding the War of Souls presents and not have any errors in continuity. It could very well be that the reason why Goldmoon is able to talk to Riverwind is because he hasn't been able to leave through the Gate of Souls to go on to whatever afterlife. He's actually trapped here. He doesn't realize it, and so it just seems to Goldmoon like she is, you know, he's waiting for her or something like that. And so that's why she's able to communicate with him. So a little head canon type information that I love to sort of pull out of these stories and try to make some sort of universal spiderweb connection to everything when it clearly never had it before. But I still think it works. In any case, the Silvenesty elf Gare, here's, and along with all of the other devotees, here's Goldmoon talking to someone, to herself, basically. And so he's like, you know, some people are kind of think you're crazy. And she's like, no, I'm actually talking to Riverwind. And it becomes an obsession of this elf's life. He needs to speak to the undead. However, Goldmoon has clearly stated to him, no, I will not teach you how to speak to the dead. It is too dangerous, and it opens up too many other possibilities that can lead you to paths of evil and darkness that we don't want to explore. So we will not. And one aspect of this I really appreciate too. In the supplement, Dragonlance 5th Age game setting, the Saga system, the dramatic 5th Age dramatic game supplement, it very much presents necromancy as an option, but says it is forbidden and no one will teach it to you. So it's something, if you're interested in, you kind of have to find out for yourself. That's what this book is also portraying. And I liked that context, because this book will give you, oh, that's why necromancy is such a evil, wicked aspect of mysticism, and why it's never taught by anyone, and why it's sort of shunned, basically. And the only person that ever actually used it was in the War of Souls. I mean, outside of this specific novel, was in the War of Souls. It was Dalamar the Dark who ended up using it, and he was taught by Takesis in order how to use it after he had taken the Tower of Palanthas and moved it over to Dergard area. So I just find that also sort of world information wildly fascinating. I'm clearly a fan of the setting, and so I just love exploring the different eras and rule sets and why those rules exist, and contextually what caused them and stuff like that. So you can very much use this book as a background to why necromancy is verboten, as it were. All right, so anyway, he becomes incredibly frustrated that she won't share this one secret with him, and this is where the novel starts to unravel entirely. First and foremost, you never really run into elves that are as impetuous and moody and flighty and able to turn on a dime like the character Gare is. 1 second, he's professing his love and adoration of Goldmoon, and then suddenly he's like this super evil, maniacal creature who's raising his own undead army, ready to murder Goldmoon and have her be his own wraith. Like, what just happened here? How did he go from being a totally devoted, loving person, considerate, to just, I want to learn how to do this, man, to, I am an evil being, to, I will control the undead world? It's just like these steps in the context of this story do not make sense. And it is very akin to Jean Rabe's writing. I don't know if it was time span. She didn't have enough time in the novel to fully contextualize the turn. I mean, we see this in the Dragons of a New Age trilogy, where we're like jumping from one event to another, like in super fast succession, especially in that third novel, where it just doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel right. And it's just frustrating, So you get that in this novel, where it doesn't feel like it's a Svenski elf at all. It feels more like it could be like a human, or maybe a half-breed, half-elf or something like that. So that would explain the behavioral, changes and stuff. We're always presented as elves as being these thoughtful, timeless beings almost, When they do make changes, it's over a span of decades and centuries, not minutes, as is seemingly presented in this novel. Though I think she tries to do a good job, and, it's not entirely unbelievable. It's just really fast, this turn, this span. And it's not like a light switch. It is over the span of, the course of the novel from the first act to the second act, but it's still faster than I think makes logical sense for that character as presented. I'm also suffering from how the audiobook narrator portrayed the character, because you can portray a character with this voice or this voice, and the tone is going to color the character entirely differently. So, for example, I can't believe you got away from me. Or, I can't believe you got away from me. Completely different context, right? One, it feels like it's a whiny little snidey creature, and the other is just someone acknowledging a flaw of their own, that they didn't realize that someone else was capable of doing something. That's important when it comes to storytelling. You have to think about what the characters are you're portraying, and then portray them through the reading in that manner, so that it adds context and elevates the story rather than distills it to a Saturday morning cartoon villain. So I could just be reacting to a narrative choice by the audiobook narrator rather than the actual written word that Jean Rabe put on the page. And so it's not really fair for me to say the character is completely unbelievable because maybe it's just the portrayal of the character that I didn't enjoy. And I didn't enjoy it. I thought the narrator did a great job with everything else, but this particular character really bothered me, the way he read him. We see stuff like Jasper Fireforge, which again, I don't know why we keep throwing in these legacy names. You know, it's like Fireforge, like Flint Fireforge. Remember him from Chronicles? Like, yeah, okay. But it's a wholly different character. So why even have the Fireforge name in it? Like, I just don't understand why we're making these constant connections to preceding characters that we love. Let us appreciate the life and death of those characters and let us focus on new characters without trying to borrow equity from someone else's character. But in any case, I did actually really like Jasper Fireforge as a character. He has some really great moments in this novel. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, very ADD all over the place today. So Gare goes to everyone's having visions when they go to the Silver Stair. And this is what I really wanted to learn about this is why? Why is this Silver Stair a thing? Where does it lead to? What happens when you get to the top? And you can see the Silver Stair very much like any other ancient artifact on Krynn, where it is an entity of its own. It is a location sort of blessed by the gods. And it is full of magic. And remember, the 5th Age, magic items were being drained by the spirits around them. This is showing how mortals can drain magic from items as well. That's how Gare gets all his power. But anyway, it has this really great story of Goldmoon walking all the way to the top of the Silver Stairs. And once you get up there, you have this vision about the gods. And it's clearly like an echo because the gods are gone at this point. There are no gods. And not even Takesis, as far as the storyline existed at this moment of when this novel was written. So it's like these echoes of divine power providing these sort of visions to people who go to it. But because it was crafted by a good divine entity, they're getting these sort of positive affirmations, either from their own god, they're having visions of loved ones, they're having visions of histories past. But it's basically like TV. You know, they're turning to a channel and experiencing something that is connected, disconnected from a timeline that moves forward, but intimately connected with the timeline that preceded it, you know, existed in the past. So you're seeing these sort of moments as they would exist if the gods were still here, because it's an artifact created by the gods, and that is their residual divine energy, not because the gods are still here giving you these visions. And this is a realization that they all have to sort of internalize and come to terms with. Some people kind of get addicted to this idea of having these visions. Some people are terrified by the heights or the experience and don't get to the full top of it. And so it's an interesting plot device that it's a moment, it's an opportunity to connect with something that no longer exists, but will still provide the gods, but will still provide inspiration and purpose to your life moving forward, especially in the context of helping other people, and that everyone on Krynn in the Age of Mortals, you have to take care of each other, which is the heart, tongue in cheek there, about mysticism itself, the power of the heart. And so I kind of like that aspect of it. I thought she did a good job portraying that. At least that's how I internalized it anyway. There's a Gnoll character named Ravago or Orvago, and I just don't understand the point of this character. First of all, it's a Gnoll, but it's a good Gnoll, and it's here to help people, and it can speak the whole time, but it doesn't say anything until the 3rd act when it's convenient for it to speak. And it ends up being the hero at the end of the day. And I guess the whole purpose is, you know, people traditionally see Sylvanesti elves as good, and he's the bad guy. And people traditionally see gnolls as evil, and he ends up being the big good guy. So I don't know if it's this subversion of expectation trope that she's trying to pull, or if she was just trying to make an interesting character out of a gnoll. I just found it very odd to choose a gnoll out of like every other possible creature on Krynn, but okay. And that's supposed to be a gnoll right there. That does not look like a gnoll to me, but that's what that's supposed to be. In any case, again, I'm just super picky and I'm a bitch sometimes. I apologize. That's just the reality of it. Okay, so Gare is obsessed with finding this power and whining and begging and pleading with Goldmoon to give it to him. She flat out refuses, so he starts to try to figure it out himself. Ultimately, he ends up being able to connect with his father, using the power of the Silver Stair to draw away the power from the stair into him and use that to amplify his inherent mystic power to connect with the dead. And then he connects with these other entities. One's called like Dark Hunter, which these wraiths that are giving him information about upcoming conflicts, because there's a tribe on Schallsea that doesn't want Goldmoon here and hates her. And so they're going to talk. There's actually a whole bunch of groups that are all fighting together throughout the course of this novel. And some of them could have been stopped if Gier would have told them, but then that meant he would have had to admit that he was speaking to the dead, and he didn't want to admit that because he wasn't allowed to. And through the course of his interactions with the dead, he starts to feel like he's sort of losing himself and finding this other aspect of himself. And he's fully aware of the change, and he's fully okay with it. He sees like reflecting that he still loves Goldmoon, but in order to love her, he has to kill her and have her with him as an undead wraith, so he can show his appreciation. Like the logic is not there at all. Even for like bad guy logic, it's not really there. But that's the story. And so he goes around and he starts like murdering people. Well, the spirits, the wraiths, start to murder people, and they raise up as his slaves through the power that he's draining from the stair. And this forces Goldmoon and the other mystics to sort of fight back. And there's these large battles with undead, in addition to all these different tribes that don't want Goldmoon on Schallsea Island. And ultimately, it ends with this great little stair battle between Gier and Jasper Fireforge, where Gier is like pushed off of the edge, like hacked into, but like falls off the edge, but he still survives, presumably because of the power of the Silver Stairs that he's been tearing. But he's going to like threaten to destroy the Silver Stairs if he continues draining it. And so he goes to Goldmoon. Goldmoon starts draining the power from the stairs as well to protect herself and to stop him and like cut off this connection they both have together. And then ultimately the Gnoll ends up fighting and killing Gier at the very end of the novel. And that's where we sort of get to the point where Goldmoon has protected the integrity of the Silver Stair, and they've created the Citadel of Light, and the conflict on Schallsea Island has been abated, and everything is as good as it can be. There's also another character, this female Solamnic Knight named Camilla, who hates the idea of Goldmoon creating this mystic Isle of Citadel of Light area to teach mysticism, which to me as a reader makes zero sense. The character doesn't like the idea because she feels that Goldmoon has forsaken the gods, and using all this magic without the gods is an abomination. And this is from a Solamnic Knight who knows that the gods have left. She lives in this era. She knows the reality of things. She knows who Goldmoon is. She knows what Goldmoon does. So why the F would she not be okay with it? Goldmoon is actively healing and helping people, and this woman is acting like it's the worst thing anyone could possibly ever do throughout the whole novel. And so at the like sort of third act period where she is talking to Goldmoon and she's like, I just can't, the Knights of Solamnia want me here to protect you, but I just don't like it at all. Even after she herself has been healed with mysticism. It's like, I don't like that you did that. Don't ever do that to me again. And I just really don't agree with it. And then Goldmoon's like, oh, I still love the gods and want them to come back. I still believe they exist somewhere. But this magic is from the gods. It's inherent within all of us. We were created by the gods. So this is from the gods. And then like that, the character is like, the whole novel before that point, hate, 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 hate. As soon as that happens, she's like, oh, okay, we're all good then. It just turns on a dime. It's just such an unbelievable short switch that it just makes it seem comical. Like, okay, so you're just a dopey dumbass That's what this is. You just needed Goldmoon to pat you on the head and say, it's going to be okay. Okay, nice. Give me a break. It's so ridiculous. In any case, she, of course, comes to the side of things. And I don't know. The characters that stand out to me, Goldmoon is consistent with the Goldmoon that we know. So she was written well. Jasper Fireforge is fun as a character. We don't need the Fireforge connection for her, for him to be a her. Oh my gosh, I can't tell if it's a girl or a boy. I think it's a girl. I think it's a boy. I mean, I don't care. It's a they. It's a they them. Because it's not important. Their gender matters not at all, and either does the Fireforge name. Jasper as a character is fun and interesting. It was portrayed as a man in the voice, so I'm assuming it was a dude. Let's see, what other characters? Gier as a bad guy was very snidely. Whiplash, if you're old enough to know what that means, or Gargamel, if you know what that means. Like, you know, sort of, I don't know, creepy and slapsticky evil, like mustache twirling evil, not like Mum-Ra, you know, like genuinely scary evil. You know, if you never watched Thundercats as a kid or as an adult now, Mum-Ra was probably the most terrifying of all of the cartoon villains because he wasn't slapstick at all, and he was visually terrifying to look at. He was just a big, bad, scary dude. I mean, he kicked Skeletor's ass when it came to scary bad guys. In any case, I'm digressing here. The story in and of itself was okay. I liked the explanation of the Silver Stair. I liked how it was portrayed. I liked that draining the power of it was destroying it, because that leads us perfectly into how in the 5th Age people would be draining magic items to draw the power away to you know, make up for the fact that their own magical power was waning, because in the War of Souls, all the spirits was taking it away from them. So that fit a really nice legacy view of the world in the 5th Age. There wasn't much world building because we already knew the Citadel of Light was a thing. So this is really very much just this isolated story about why necromancy isn't taught, and why what the Silver Stair is, and why it was important. And that was kind of it. You know, we didn't get a lot of Goldmoon, surprisingly. We didn't get a lot of Citadel of Light, surprisingly. And I don't necessarily think we needed it, because the rest of the story gave me what I was looking for, which is what the title meant. You know, the Silver Stair. It's about that. So I think when people come into this novel, because Goldmoon's on the cover and because it's Silver Stair, which we know is at the center of the maze, that the Citadel of Light is placed nearby, we assume it's going to be about that. But that's us projecting as fans. This is literally titled The Silver Stair. It's literally about the Silver Stair. So if you come into this without any preconceived notions, you're going to be given a story about the title. And that's not always the case in the Dragonlance stories. And so it's, you know, pretty refreshing. I don't know what that is. If that's what gnolls look like, I've been imagining them wrong my entire life. But I'm open to being wrong about anything. So you do see the Citadel of Light behind it, those big bubbles. I think those big bubbles are kind of goofy looking anyway, but what are you going to do? All right. So if you like Goldmoon, if you like the Citadel of Light, if you like the 5th Age, buy this novel. If you're looking for a great story that is fully fleshed out and provides some wonderful character arcs, you're not going to get it. But if you just want to learn about the Silver Stair, you're going to get a lot of that. And so I highly recommend you buy this novel, or read it at the very least from your library. That is going to do it for my review of The Silver Stair by Gene Rabe. What did you think of I didn't even update my notes. What did you think about the realization of the Silver Stair? How about necromancy as a mystic power, as a sphere of power and mysticism? Let me know in the comments below. As always, you can email me at info@dlsaga.com. Feel free to leave a comment below. I always appreciate hearing from all of you. I would like to take a moment and remind you to subscribe to this YouTube channel, ring the bell to get notified about upcoming videos, and click the like button. This all goes to help other Dragonlance fans learn about this channel and its content. This channel is all about celebrating the wonderful world of the Dragonlance Saga, so I thank you so very much for joining in that celebration. So until next time, my name's Adam for Dragonlance Saga. Slán Javar.